Teacher Talking Sports, what it does, what it do, how we live. And flopping has kind of been a hot button topic in the NBA for quite some time, as fans don't like seeing it. You see replays where a guy doesn't get close to getting hit, yet falls to the ground, or barely gets grazed and acts like he got hit by a cannonball shot out of a cannon. Well, longtime NBA great Kevin Garnett gave his thoughts on the topic. Let's get into it. It's via Clutch Points by Paolo Sonko. Celtics icon Kevin Garnett's comprehensive solution to fix NBA's flopping problems. Here's what he has to say. Legends such as Kevin Garnett, today's NBA has more than a few holes in it. One of them is the issue of flopping, which apparently the Boston Celtics icon feels very strongly about. Man, they don't even mention the Timberwolves. So much so that KG wants to have a meeting with League Commissioner Adam Silver to discuss a potential solution to this concerning problem. Speaking on a recent episode of his podcast with former Celtics teammate Paul Pierce, Ticket and Truth, Garnett passionately expressed his disdain for flopping. According to the former NBA champ, he would like to implement a sensational rule change that he feels would put an end to all this flopping nonsense. I would call fouls for flopping, Garnett said. You should go in an expletive cage for 2 minutes for flopping. We should have a flopping cage. Hey, Adam, if you're listening, let's talk about the concept of a flopping 2 minute box. So, 2 minutes, where do you get that from? Well, the NHL has a rule for flopping. They actually call it diving or embellishment, where a player over exaggerates something that the opposing team does. They get called for that penalty, and they go into the penalty box for 2 minutes. So here, Garnett wants to put him in a cage, which isn't quite a penalty box, but probably would be quite embarrassing for the player to be put in a cage for 2 minutes while game action is going on for doing something. And flopping was talked about quite a bit. There was even a moment where LeBron James, during this season's postseason, mentioned that the Lakers don't practice flopping. That's not something he's about. And then, people found numerous instances of him flopping throughout his career to be like, hey, LeBron, what are you talking about? But what do you think of KG's idea? I'll say what's hard is, think how the refs get fooled all the time by players flopping. What would they do? Stop the game every time they think maybe a flop occurred and check it on instant replay to slow down the action. It's kind of hard to enforce. And what if the refs do call a flopping penalty and on the replay it's clearly shown that the guy didn't flop? So again, it's probably an outlandish idea that would never occur, but what's your guys' thoughts on it? And also, the NBA did at a point were trying to crack down on flopping, mentioned how they were going to fine players, and that kind of, went by the wayside. You haven't really heard of players getting fined for flopping anymore. The NHL does do it, where I believe the first time is just a warning, but every subsequent time they do get fined, and it's larger with the amount of times they do it. But let me know your thoughts on Kevin Garnett's solution to flopping. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.